Oh my gosh, I have bought all the tickets for the Cam Akers hype train. I love this running back. As I watched his tape heading up to the draft, I started to like him more and more. I just wanted him to go to the right situation. The LA Rams are the right situation. They run that zone blocking scheme where he is going to excel in. He averaged close to 4 yards per carry after contact. He is in a great spot. And I know. They got Malcolm Brown. They got Darrell Henderson. But listen, you don't buy a vinyl record unless you're going to go and play it. And this is very similar to a situation they were in back in 2015 when they drafted Todd Gurley. They had Trey Mason. They had Zach Stacy already on the roster. But you know what? That year, Todd Gurley went out and carried the ball 229 times. I expect Cam Akers to be the guy who carries the ball for the Rams this season. I'm all in.
All right, well, I am shoveling coal onto the hype train engine of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I had said that I wanted the Chiefs to go out and get one of those top running backs at the end of the first round, and they granted my wish. That's a weird thing, right? I love that. What should get everybody excited about this, though, is the fact that Andy Reid is out here comparing him to Brian Westbrook. And anybody who played fantasy during Westbrook's prime remembers how productive he was in those Philadelphia offenses. You look at CEH last year, 55 catches at LSU. You compare that to the Chiefs running backs, no one there had more than 30 receptions. You get him out in space, catching the football from Patrick Mahomes, running those RPOs in the backfield, and the sky potentially is the limit for this guy in his first season.
I love the sound of Brian Westbrooky over there with Andy Reid again in Kansas City. But I'm buying a ticket to something that, you know what, it feels wrong, but I just need it to be right. The Lions running game and DeAndre Swift. This guy, I am all in. Yes, I know they have Kerryon Johnson there already, but I think this guy could emerge as an RB1 at some point this season. Look, he averaged 6.6 yards per carry at Georgia, breaking Todd Gurley's school record there. He's a 3-down back. He's so explosive. They just brought in Halabuli Vaitai to help out that offensive line. And he's a running back with the last name Swift. It just makes sense. And if you've ever noticed in my background here, I have a mug that says Philly John, and he is also a Philly John. So shout out to all my St. Joe's Preps guys out there, because yes, I'm a little biased, but I am on this hype train for sure. And speaking of every down backs, here's another one here. Keyshawn Vaughn going to the Bucks. Vandy tweeting this out, the 76 overall pick. And look, honestly, I just don't know how that offense is going to score points this year, guys. I mean, they have so many guys. There are so many mouths to fill. And anybody who's out there in a dynasty league or a keeper league or whatever you call it, you know already about the guys, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, the guys that we've talked about on the show. But what about some of the sleepers here? Marcus, who do you like?
Well, you mentioned Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, that's the guy that I'm looking at. I know deep in fantasy Twitter, they're already talking about this guy. I'll say this. I sort of mentioned this with a heavy heart. As a guy who's a USC alum, I want to be a Ronald Jones stan. But obviously, the Bucks are not all in on Rojo right now. There was a 3-way split between he, Peyton Barber, and Dare Ogunbowale last season. Now almost 175 touches open up. With Barber gone to Washington, Vaughn will get a chance to become the starter there. He can be a 3-down back in this offense, but I do think Ronald Jones will have some value, just not as much as he might have otherwise.
Yeah, you know, one of the guys I'm looking at, I like Brandon Aiyuk out of ASU. He was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, and GM John Lynch was like, yeah, we had him on the same level as CeeDee Lamb, which to me, I got to go all Teddy Long here and be like, hold on, player. Like, he's a good ball player, but let's not get crazy. But I do really like him. He's kind of a perfect fit for San Francisco's offense. He walks into a situation where they have a strong running game. They got George Kittle there. They got Deebo Samuel. They can allow him to just run down the field, use that huge wingspan that he has. He has enormous arms. Let him go out there and do his thing. It kind of reminds me of the situation that DK Metcalf walked into last year in Seattle. And this is what they're going to do. Throw the ball deep, let him run out and get it. His fantasy value will be hit and miss, which happens with these guys that are kind of a little bit explosive, but I really like him long term.
Yeah, and you're not the only one. I mean, the Niners traded up for him, so I think they love him at this point. But I I trust Joe Douglas, and I really think that he hit on Denzel Mims. With Robbie Anderson gone from the Jets, he's my guy right now because Sam Darnold, he needs the targets. He's going to go to him early and often. If he buys in, I think that Denzel Mims could be one of Sam Darnold's favorite targets. He's going to start. He's big. He's fast. He has the skill set to be an immediate threat in the red zone. So just don't take him too high in any drafts, but I think that he could really hit this year.